memories and talk more of Sid as we go down this road that is the Shining Wizards Wrestling Podcast. But our guest is here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he's ready to go. And he said we were number one before in the pre-show. And I want to bring him in. He's been around was actually on a fucking UWF show, which blows my mind. Madman Pondo, Mr. Pondo, how are you?
Story that was. You guys want to know about that UWF show?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So let's start this shit. Let's get going. So do you remember when Ricky Dragon Steamboat had a manager, the Super Ninja?
Very vaguely.
No, none of you do.
Yeah.
Very vaguely. That was a guy named Howard Brackney. All right. Howard Brackney got that job because he was going down and doing enhancement talent for WCW, and he had a ninja outfit. They didn't give a fuck whether this guy could wrestle or what. He had a ninja outfit, and they had a plan. This is where you'll remember it. Later on, they took the mask off, and it was Paul Heyman. You remember that now? Now, it was not Paul Heyman up until they took that mask off of him. All right? So, I worked for this guy, and he called me one day, and he's like, hey, don't you have an 87 Thunderbird? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, man, I got us this opportunity in Florida. Do you want to go? And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, of course. And he's like, can you drive? And I was like, yeah, I'll drive. So I asked him what it was. Now, my parents had a satellite, one of the first pirated satellite in my hometown of Flora, Illinois. And I was a big tape trader. So I had UWF videos and all this shit. So this guy, I go and I pick him up. He lived in Vincennes, Indiana. I pick him up, and we had 15 hours to get to Florida. But going over Eagle's Head or Eagle's Nest, some mountain, there was a 3-hour traffic jam because some semi hit a bear. So we had 18 hours. We had 18 hours to get to Florida. So we finally get there. We walk in the lobby, and the first two people that we see are Captain Lou Albano and Bruno Sammartino. And we introduce ourselves, and they barely talked to the Super Ninja, but they wanted to talk to me, and I'm only 2 years in this fucking business. But that's Bruno Sammartino and Captain Lou Albano wanting to talk to me. So they said, so where are you guys from? How long was the trip? We told them about the fucking bear breathing in the middle of the street that was going to get up and slap the ass off of somebody at any moment. So we go upstairs, we get dressed, we come back downstairs. Bruno Sammartino and Captain Lou Albano buys our breakfast. And they're talking to me, and they're like, man, for not hearing about you, we've heard good things, And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And they're like, yeah, Herb has this guy Brady Boone who does your style of wrestling, and like we're thinking about starting a storyline with you guys. And I don't know a Brady Boone at that time. I do now, but I didn't know what his wrestling style was. But it must have been jabroni 2 years in, because they was really adamant about I had the same wrestling as this guy. So we get to the show, and of course I'm the shits. Like the guy I'm wrestling, he's all right, but I mean I'm not good. I'm only 2 years in, but I did have an 87 Thunderbird at that time. So the match gets done, and hold on. Let me back up. So we get to the venue, and all the talent enhancement is in a locker room to the left. I know I just pointed to the right, but if you turn the fucking There. Okay. So we go. I go to where the talent enhancement is, and I'm looking all the list of the names, and there's no name. Now I can't remember the guy's name, but he had a yellow jacket on the dark side of the ring. He was like Herb's right hand. I go to him and I say, "I'm sorry, I was looking on the list, and I didn't see my name." And he goes, "Oh, you need to go to that locker room over there." So I'm going over and I'm looking at this piece of paper, and it says Paul Orndorff, Cowboy Bob Orton, B. Brian Blair, Cactus Jack, Madman Pondo. 2 years in, I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm in this fucking locker room in awe. Like, I'm listening to guys that I watch. Paul Orndorff, WrestleMania 1. I'm listening to this dude talk. I took a picture with the guy. I looked like a fucking stick next to Paul Orndorff. I didn't even take my fucking nerd glasses off. All right. So now the match happens. Get done wrestling. I'm happy. You know, shit. That's my first TV appearance. Bruno Sammartino, Captain Lou Albano, and Greg DeGeorge. You remember Greg DeGeorge, the guy that he did a little. Okay, Greg DeGeorge. They all pull me. So there's locker rooms both this way, and then there's an electric room straight forward. And they're like, "Hey, come with us." So I go inside this electric room, and all three of them's in there, and they're like, "Hey, we was wondering where was the flips? Where was all the jumping off the top rope? Where was all the jumping over the top rope to the floor?" And I'm like, "Oh, did you guys want me to?" And they're like, "You've never done that before?" And I'm like, "No. I have no clue what you're talking about." Then I start figuring shit out. We had an 18-hour trip, and the Super Ninja could at any time said, "Hey, I needed a ride. You had a cheap gas car." So I lied to these guys and told them you could do all this fucking incredible shit. Didn't tell me a fucking thing. Yeah. If he would have told me, I could have faked a leg injury. I could have done. There's 100 other things I could have done than got in that ring and looked like the stupid piece of shit that I looked like. You saw the match. I mean, what? Okay. So that's why these guys are buying me breakfast. That's why I'm fucking top name on this list on this fucking dressing room, not this dressing room. You know. So I was booked on 3 UWF shows. After that, I was booked on no UWF. And me and this guy, 15 hours home, I was so pissed, I couldn't even talk to him. I didn't say a fucking word. He'd be like, "Hey, we need gas." I would pull over. I'd get the gas. I'd get back in. Didn't say a fucking word. I was so goddamn mad. So then I'm in my hometown, Florida, Illinois, small town of 5,000, and my friends call me on the phone and say, "Yo, you're on TV right now." And I'm like, "Really? Doing what?" They're like, "You're wrestling the Super Ninja." I'm like, "Shit, are you fucking kidding me?" You can hear them. You can hear Captain Lou Albano like just running me down on the microphone. You can hear Bruno Sammartino talking to Herb Abrams and saying, "So Herb, you give these guys a tryout. They're not always at the best and all this shit, you know, and none of this is my fault. I didn't fucking know." All he had to do was say, "Hey, I told them you're this, and I know you're this," but he didn't. So that was that UWF story. That's how I made it on there. But doing that, I met Luna, and me and her got along real good. I met Dave Heath Gangrel. I met him. You know, I got good experiences out of it, but Can you imagine 15 hours home and not saying a fucking word to the guy sitting next to you?
I'm surprised you even gave him a ride home.
Well, yeah. I mean, I did get a free breakfast out of Bruno Sammartino and Captain Lou Albano.
That's a fucking great story in and of itself.
It's a true story. It's a fucking true story.
It's amazing.
And don't you know, while they're watching that match, both of them sitting there going, I bought this motherfucker blueberry pancakes. I can't fucking you know? How's it going, guys? Fuck, man. I've never met any of you, but I seem like we're already in the same you guys are fucking jacking each other off like cars, talking about assholes. Let's fucking talk, guys. I was listening to you guys before I came on, and do you guys remember what Sid's first wrestling gimmick was?
Lord Humongous. Oh.
Lord Humongous. And I was there for some of that shit. I was a kid going to the Evansville Coliseum, and I'll never forget how vicious this motherfucker looked, right? So just a little story, another story. I know I'm taking over your show. I apologize. And
no, we love it, man.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah. You guys can cut me off and say, shut the fuck up, asshole. So I'm on a show, and Jamie Dundee comes over, and he says, hey, Pondo, Sid wants to borrow your scissors. I'm a nice guy. I go over, I get the scissors out of my bag. I'm holding them by the fucking blades, and I got the handles out, and I'm trying to hand them to Sid. Sid's tying his boot. He looks up, and he goes, what do you want me to do with those? Shove them up your ass? I said, no. So I went and sat back down. Jamie comes over and goes, Pondo, you fuck fired. He just got fired from WCW for stabbing Arn Anderson. You're trying to hand him a pair of scissors. I said, Jamie, that's not even funny. Like, number one, 6 guys can't hold this guy off of me. Number two, you got me handing him fucking scissors. I mean, a rib's a rib, but a murder is a murder, you know? So, yeah. My last Sid Vicious story, Evansville Coliseum. ICP didn't want Sid to be Sid. They wanted him to be Lord Humongous because he was in the Evansville Coliseum, and he did Lord Humongous there several times. So I hear the plan. I'm sitting in the same room. They told Sid, don't take the mask off for about 3 or 4 shows. So I'm sitting up in the balcony watching Sid go out to the ring. He hadn't wrestled yet. And if you know anything about the Juggalos, they like to throw shit in the ring. And, of course, Sid was the heel, so they're throwing shit in the ring. And a beer can comes, hits him. He picks up the beer, trying to get over with the Juggalos, and pours it on the mouth of the mask. And next thing I know, the mask comes off. And I mean abruptly, the mask comes off. I was like, holy shit, he wasn't supposed to do that for 2 or 3 shows. So I go downstairs to hear the explanation, and Sid is fucking livid. He's fucking pounding on doors. Where the fuck is ICP? But thank God, Sid was main event. ICP had already went to the hotel. Apparently, one of them Juggalos pissed inside that beer can.
Oh,
Threw it. It hits. He picked it up, poured it on that hockey mask, and I'm sure it was like dripping down into his mouth every once in a while. So the heat was on, boy. I mean, so I don't have too many Sid stories, but that is, you know, I will never forget how dominant and fucking crazy Lord Humongous was when he would come to the ring. That was, and plus I was a big Mad Max fan, so hell yeah, man. I will remember all the good times with Sid just being Lord Humongous, and keep my mouth shut about anything else that I might know that he would make people get first class plane tickets and then no show. And I mean, not that I know that for sure, but I mean, I've been told. So, I'm keeping my mouth shut about all that. Not going to talk bad about the dead, but generally a sweet man, just a sweetheart. Take that. Take that.
Well, Pondo, I want to ask you. You mentioned scissors before, and there's
shit.
a famous clip of you and Ian Rotten that a lot of people probably have seen of you, where you guys are cutting yourselves with scissors. You want to talk about that one a little bit, or how that one came
Sure,
about?
man. So we've been doing IWA Mid-South for a while, and we wanted to branch out. So CZW started running in Philly. Well, we wanted to be a part of that. We wanted to get jobs with that. So we're sitting in the locker room, and we're thinking on what to do. And Ian asked the locker room, does anybody have a pair of scissors? I think this dude's name's Lord Everett from Combat Zone. He had the white, like, English hair. Anyway, he said, yes, I do. What we didn't know was it was a brand new out of the package pair of scissors. Therefore, they were razor fucking sharp, right? So we're evaluating the crowd. We're evaluating the situation. And Hat Guy from ECW,
John.
3 or 4 rows back, always had the corncob hat.
Straw
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. He's sitting front row at CZW. So Ian comes over and says, Pondo, we're going to get jobs at CZW now. And I'm like, how's that? And he goes, if we can get Hat Guy to react to what we're doing, they're going to give us jobs. They can't not give us jobs. I'm like, all right, I'm down. Let's go for it. So that was the Hat Guy was right in front of me doing Ian's forehead. And even after I got done and looked, I'm like, oh shit, man, I fucked up. Like that was pretty fucking gruesome. But here's the cool part, and you can't see it on video, and nobody will ever know but me, because Ian, of course, had shit in his eyes after that. But I look out at Hat Guy, and not only do we get a reaction, he's like getting ready to puke, and I'm like, we got jobs. Hell yeah, we got jobs. So at the end of it, I got a job. Ian didn't get a job. I don't know what happened, but yeah, that's. And then you can even after I did, Ian got 11 across his forehead. I got 24 in my arm. You saw my arm afterwards.
Yeah.
So, since I did that to Ian, I'm like, all right, receipt time, whatever. So you even see me tap him on the stomach, like, all right, get me, dude. And he did. He got me pretty good. But we got to the hospital, and of course, there's 2 of us with fucking vagina-like gaping holes. So, of course, the law gets called and all this crazy shit. But yeah, I got a job at CZW.
And
I
that
gotta tell
led
you,
that led you
my
going to
first-
Japan too, right? After that,
What's that?
that's what led you going to Japan too?
No.
Oh.
I wrestled Abdullah the Butcher in Overland, Missouri, for a company called MRW, ran by Mike Rogers and Big Ben. And they put me versus Abdullah the Butcher. Now, what I didn't know was I'm sitting back after the match, and I'm waiting on Abdullah to come back and give me criticism. He came back there and he goes, champ, that was great. Let's go back out. And we went back out for another 5 minutes. I tell that story to people who knows Abdullah the Butcher, and they say, you're fucking lying. Once Abdullah's done, he's done. He doesn't want to go back out. And I'm like, I'm serious. He took me back out. We went another 5 minutes. So I'm sitting back there, and Abdullah says, champ, I'm going to Japan in 5 days. If you get me a videotape, by the time I come back, I'll take it back to Japan with me, and I'll see if I can't get you a job. So I drive to my house, like 5 hours from Overland, Missouri, hook up 2 VCRs, make a video at like 4, 5, 6 in the morning, make a highlight video of me, go to the post office, overnight it to his restaurant. So he got it in 2 days. He calls me on the phone and says, "Damn, champ, you really want to go to Japan, don't you?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." And that's how I got in Japan. They threw me in with the CZW guys, but it was Abdullah that got me in Japan over there, which really helped me out. Number one, Abdullah would take me out to eat with the mafia and shit like that, so I didn't have to pay for food like the first 3 trips that I went. Plus, I was Abdullah's boy. Therefore, they was all afraid of me. They had no reason to be, but I mean, you know, here's how you know when you're over in Japan. And again, I'm taking over your show. I'm sorry. So there's this thing called service bars. And what that is, it's hot Japanese chick that will pour your drinks for you, act like they want to fuck you, but they got no intentions on putting your dick anywhere near them. So, Abdullah loves these places. Fucking loves these places, right? So I was his boy. He would take me. He would fill the table full of food. I would get to eat every night and everything. So we closed this one out one night, and we're talking about 4 o'clock in the morning, and we go outside, and this is maybe trip 3, and Abdullah walks outside the service bar, and he is not about walking anywhere, but he was like, "Hey, champ, I'm in a pretty good mood tonight. Let's go to the hotel. I see it right over there." And we're walking to the hotel. Now, back up a minute. He would also, the reason I was there, I would be the guy holding Abdullah's T-shirts. And he would make the mafia buy the T-shirts and give them to the girls. Hell of a business. He was selling them 5,000 yen, right? And that was back when Japanese money was more than American money, so he was making bank. So taking me along with him didn't hurt him a bit. So 4 o'clock in the morning, for 4:10 in the morning, we're walking to the hotel, and I've got his bag of T-shirts. And there's this dude walking on the other side towards us, smoking a cigarette. He's got a leather jacket on, you know, he's all punked out and all this shit. And he gets close enough, and he sees Abdullah. And he goes, "Butcher? Abdullah the butcher?" And Abdullah goes, "Yes, yes." And he goes to shake the guy's hand. Like Fiddler on the Roof, this guy starts yelling out, "Abdullah the butcher! Abdullah the..." And I'm like, "Dude, you're going to get somebody arrested. Fucking chill out, right?" Lights start coming on in houses. I wish I had an exaggeration point, but I do not. Lights start coming on in houses. People start seeing that Abdullah the butcher is in the middle of the street, in their pajamas, in their fucking slippers with no socks, running out to meet Abdullah the butcher. And he's got a small crowd. He says, "Shit, champ, pull my T-shirts out." So I'm pulling his T-shirts out. People are running back in their houses, getting money, coming back, buying these fucking T-shirts at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. That is how you know you're over in Japan, right there. No exaggeration to that story whatsoever.
So, Pondo, you've had a long career, obviously. You know, the hell of a story.
35 years, 34 years, too goddamn long.
Hell of a storyteller, man. I could listen to you to tell stories all night. Do you have like a go-to story? Do you have a one that always gets you, one that you enjoy telling?
I'm so full of shit. I tell them all. I don't know if I have a favorite or not, really. Okay, I do have one.
Boom.
And I heard you guys talking about, I don't know if it was on the podcast or not. Was you guys talking about Indians on the podcast or not on the podcast?
That was Indian Summer. That was on the podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
On the podcast, therefore I'm clear, correct?
Yes.
Clear.
So for JCW,
Oh boy.
I'm sitting in the locker room and I don't have a way to get to the hotel because I flew in. And ICP says, Pondo, just get in that limo right there. It's going to the hotel. I'm like, all right, cool. I get in the limo. King Kong Bundy, Iron Sheik, both Rock and Roll Express, Angel Amoresso, Balls Mahoney. You know, I'm the only what the fuck am I doing here guy in this limo. So we're going to the hotel, and about that time, the Iron Sheik sees a White Castle, and he starts yelling at the driver. He's like, "Oh, Bubba, please stop at White Castle, please. I want to get a sec, please." Right? So the limo stops at the White Castle. Me, King Kong Bundy, and Iron Sheik are the only three that get out. Okay? Everybody else was doing whatever they was doing, not saying a word. Not saying a word. We're going into White Castle, and the minute we get in, the little glass compartment, you know how they got two doors? The minute we get in the little glass, Iron Sheik, he has a suit on, but he's still the fucking Iron Sheik. You know, he's got his mustache all fucking, he's got his turban on and all this shit. We walk into White Castle, and everybody in White Castle was like, "Oh my God, it's Iron Sheik!" You know, and they're all coming over and they're meeting him, and Iron Sheik, of course, he's taking advantage. He's like, Bubba, please, get the Sheiky boy, give me a 10 sack, give me a 10 sack, and of course, two of them go over to get a 10 sack. So then he's talking about wanting medicine. Hey, can anybody help me get any? We'll just call it medicine. Hey, can anybody help me get any medicine? You know, and about that time, King Kong Bundy behind me goes, "Hello," and everybody just kind of stopped and looked what's going on. And he goes, "WrestleMania 3." Everybody's just staring at him. And he goes, "The cage with Hulk Hogan?" Everybody's just staring at him. About that time, he goes, "Pondo, help me out." And I said, "Did any of you guys see Richard Pryor's Moving?" And they said, "Yeah." And I said, "Remember the guy who moved the semi?" And they said, "Oh, was that you?" And he goes, "Fuck you, ninjas," and walked out. Now, I said the word ninja.
Oh yeah.
I said the word ninja. I never used that word. He left me in White Castle with that word and walked the fuck out. And I'm just like, and they're all looking at me like, and finally one of them poked up and said, "Yo, was that King Kong Brody?" I said, "Yes, it was. That was it. That was King Kong Brody that just walked out." Yeah, just as long as they wasn't all going to attack me for that word. I didn't give a fuck if they said, "Was that Bastion Booger?" That's who that motherfucker was. They weren't coming after me. All right? But yeah, that's, just that story. Everybody, because other people will say, "Hey, tell everybody about that limo story," so there you go.
Jeez.
God damn.
Oh boy.
You mentioned your illustrious career, 35 years. You've worked all over the place. How did you get involved with ICP and Juggalo Championship Wrestling?
So you guys might be familiar with M3, Malcolm 3.
Okay.
No. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's a Malcolm 3. There's a Malcolm 2 who I've wrestled for. But before him, there was Sweet Daddy Malcolm Monroe. And he was running these shows out of a boxing arena in Detroit. And me and Ian did a thumbtack death match that night. Now, the place was packed, but there was 2 guys there called the Hector Hatchet and the Sewer Dweller. And the crowd was going nuts for these guys, right? I have no idea who they are. A couple of white guys with dreadlocks. And we get done wrestling, and I'm sitting in the back. And finally, Ian recognizes who those guys are, and he was like, "That's them 2 motherfuckers that put me on their VCR package. Me and Axel on their on the VCR cover, and didn't give us no money and all this shit." So already he's against them. He don't even want to talk to him. So the one that will talk to him, and of course I don't know these guys, they come over to me and they're like, "Man, that was great. That was fucking awesome. You guys did such a good job. We got this video out called Stranglemania Live," and I had no fucking clue what that was. And at almost the end of the conversation, ICP Violent J told me, he said, "Someday we're going to run a wrestling company and we want you to come with us." And I'm like, "All right, great." You hear so much bullshit in professional wrestling. Yeah. This wasn't created yet. They didn't know about this. If they would have known about this, I might have took it, but they didn't know about it. So they went out and they got me one of their CDs called fucking Tunnel of
Great
Love.
Link. Oh, okay.
No, Tunnel of Love. When you open it, Shaggy has his face enhanced on this guy with this huge fucking cock. It can't be real. So already I'm like, what the hell is this? And then they gave me a t-shirt that said, "Ain't no bitch too whack, ain't no bitch too fat, ain't no bitch too ugly for Super Balls." And it had a dick and balls with Superman cape on it and the little black curl on it. So already I'm like, what's these guys about? So then on my way home, I started listening to the CD, and I'm like, you know what? This shit's legit. This just sounds cool. This is pretty good. Even prior to that, I bought the Great Malenko before I pre-ordered the Great Malenko before Disney pulled them all off the shelf. I don't know if you guys know about that situation or not. I had one of those for a long time, and divorce, girl to girl. There's no fucking telling where that is now. I don't know if you guys know about that shit or not. So I live alone now. Does that tell you anything? This fucking handsome mug lives alone. This is spoiler alert. I know that's shocking, but
Travesty.
So,
Damn shame.
so I'm in O'Fallon, Missouri. O'Fallon, Illinois. Anyway, it's near Missouri. And I'm walking around the mall, and I see a whole bunch of people wearing ICP t-shirts. And I'm like, holy shit, that's those guys. And I didn't get their fucking name, their number, I didn't get nothing. So finally they're doing a show called Stranglemania Live, and this is in 97. And they appointed a guy named Dan Curtis to find Madman Pondo. And they found me, and I've been doing ICP wrestling shows since 97. I just got done being at my 24th gathering of the Juggalos. 24 fucking years. Can you imagine the shit that I've seen over the years?
No.
Yeah, that's how I got started with Insane Clown Posse.
That's absolutely.
I might have seen 7 titties in my time at the gathering.
7.
That's a yeah,
On one bird? That's,
yeah. One had surgery.
I'm gonna go to the
Good
chat.
for her showing it off. Good for her.
If I kind of want to go to the chat here quick, SJ wants to know, throughout your whole wrestling career, who is the hardest opponent you've ever faced in a death match?
The hardest, as in hardest, or who was the hardest to deal with?
Oh, like this?
Yeah, I was gonna say, who had the rebar? Yeah.
Gotta be Necro.
Yep.
Necro wants you to earn your spot. And I'm this guy's friend, and he was punching me in the fucking eye, so I can't imagine what he was doing to other people. But there's a video from a match, me versus Necro versus New Jack from ECW Arena, and it's for Combat Zone Wrestling. And maybe or maybe not, Necro might have been on liquid morphine. Maybe. Allegedly. Allegedly, that might not have been what was on the fucking thing. But I'm pretty sure. So, during the match, this guy, Necro, he's my friend, but he is punching the fuck out of me. So, finally, there's a spot where he's on the top rope, and I'm supposed to throw him down to the ring apron, then to the floor. Fuck that ring apron. I threw this guy down to the floor, right? Straight to the floor. Then I went to almost to the back, and there was a, see that fan right there? There was one of those just by the wall. Didn't belong to the company, belonged to the building. I unplugged it, grabbed it, and you'll see the clip somewhere on YouTube. I baseball swung that thing into Necro's face. And then I
Jesus.
went to pick him up, and he's looking up at me, and he's going, "I'm hitting you too hard, ain't I, bud?" I said, "Yes, fucking stop." So yeah, Necro. I'd say Necro was my hardest one.
I guess in talking hardest one, you just got back from Japan a couple weeks ago, and over the weekend, 83-year-old Dory Funk Jr. Participated in a death match. Have you had an opportunity to see that, and what are your thoughts on that?
I saw pictures, but see, me and Shadow WX, we hang out a lot when I'm over there, and he comes to America and hangs out with me. So I knew about this match a long time ago. Let me tell you one of the funniest things I ever heard Violent J say. A guy named Patrick was having a congratulations party or a 10-year party or something like that. So they was running a wrestling show. Well, he went to Dory Funk's school. And Violent J got on the microphone and he said, "Here he is, Patrick, who went to Dory Funk Senior School." And Patrick corrected him and said, "No, Dory Funk Jr." And Violent J said, "Oh, I mean Dory Funk Jr. But for years he's looked like Dory Funk Senior." And that was probably almost 15, 18 years ago. And now Dory Funk is headlining a fucking death match. Hey, I hope to be doing the same thing at 83. So more power to Dory Funk. I'm so happy that he got to do that. And the pictures, the explosions happening around him. Shit, man. Kudos to Dory Funk.
It's crazy. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I love it, though.
On your trip, I have to ask, because I know you've been going to Japan for a very long time. Have you indulged in the raw horse meat?
On accident, but not raw. They have this thing called Korean barbecue. And
Love Korean
me
barbecue.
And Tony was fucking hungry. So the first plate for people who don't know, Korean barbecue, they'll bring raw meat on plates. There's a little like stove oven, a little little heat plate in the middle of the table, and you'll put the meat on there, and you'll cook it yourself. Well, we did that, and we're just going to town on this meat, and it was a little tough and all that. And finally, one of the other Japanese wrestlers says, "You know," and he's like, "We know what?" And he went, "Rah!" And that's when we found out we was eating a horse. We may or may not have stopped eating it at that point, but we was pretty fucking hungry. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I've heard nothing but good things about the raw horse meat.
See, I didn't eat it raw. I cooked it myself, but it came raw. But people was eating that shit raw.
Yeah,
So
apparently
Lance,
that's
what
a thing,
Lance
yeah.
Archer said.
I mean, how do they get around the glue?
Holy shit.
Well, we want to thank Madman Pondo for
Well, I
stopping
got-
by.
Fucking
I
got
gotta
us with
ask-
that one.
I gotta
Holy
ask
shit.
my question though.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Oh, this is
I
a
gotta
great
know,
question.
Pondo. When was the last time you shit your pants?
Well, I just had stomach surgery. Congratulate me, guys. I was 300.
Congratulations.
Congratulations on your stomach surgery.
Can you
Yeah.
tell? Can you tell? So I was
Yeah, you look fucking
332
great.
pounds for years. I'm down to 223 pounds. But
Nice.
Yeah.
during the stomach surgery, the doctor comes in, and of course they gotta probe and touch you. And I'm not one that can go in one of them bowls. I have to go to the fucking toilet. You know what I'm talking about? The fucking things
Yeah,
that they
the
try to
bedpans.
shove under you.
Yeah, the bedpans.
I
Yeah,
still
yeah, yeah.
don't know the mechanics of that. How do you not shit all over yourself? And my dick is not big enough to piss down in that fucking bowl. So I do not know the logistics of it. So I'm not using that fucking thing. So the doctor's sitting there pushing around on me, and next thing I know, whoosh. I'm talking about deuce, right? And I'm thinking, all right, I will just keep my mouth shut and wait for the doctor to leave, and then I'll go clean myself up. The doctor goes, "Damn, did you shit yourself?" What a professional, right? I mean, me and him are cool. We're cool, you know. I mean, he's a wrestling fan, but it sounds like he was out of place. But no, he was like, "Damn, did you shit yourself?" And I was, yeah, but yeah. In all fairness, it's not like I was a child laying in bed. This dude's like punching down on my shit bag, and next thing I know, it just fucking shot out. But so I had my surgery October 17th of last year, so this would probably be October 18th or 19th. How about I know the fucking dates? Wow.
Ever in the ring?
No, never in the ring. I've heard people's stories about that. That would be like promotional suicide to me. You would never be able to wrestle again. So no, I always make sure I'm pretty flushed before I go to the fucking ring.
What do you got coming up?
What kind of stories have you guys gotten off of that?
Oh, we've gotten some good ones.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them one?
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah, if it wasn't on a doctor's bed, you guys wouldn't have got that story out of me, by God.
There's been a couple of, they shit their pants on a road trip, but not so much in the ring, but they've definitely told stories of their peers shitting themselves in the ring or being in the ring with somebody who shit themselves.
I shit myself
can't
at
even remember
breakfast
that
on Christmas
happening.
morning.
Merry Christmas.
That's what I told the family.
Told your family you shit your pants. You just didn't even like quietly excuse yourself.
Oh no,
and be
I did. Of course. Not that much of a fucking heathen. And it wasn't
Go
the
over
first
and,
time I
like-
shit my. It wasn't the first
Like,
time I shit
go
my
over
pants
and
on
grab
Christmas
a
either.
fake limb off the tree and wipe your ass with it and say, "Check it out, fam.
Old school,
I just shit my pants."
fucking pilgrim style.
You thought the cat only played with these, but no.
Oh,
I wasn't
shit.
feeling well, and I shouldn't have trusted it. That's what happened.
I guess so. What was you like eating a meal?
No, well, yeah, it was breakfast. I had just finished making breakfast on Christmas morning. We all sat down, fucking lifted a cheek to let one out, and I'm like,
What would you have for breakfast? PF Chang's?
no, I think we ate at my sister-in-law's the night before. A lot of meat, a lot of like beans, shit like that. Fucking now I'm hungry now I want PF Chang's, man. It's been a while. I missed them lettuce wraps. Those are fucking delicious.
Oh boy.
Pondo, this has been absolutely a blast. We'd love to have you back on
Fuck
anytime
yeah.
to shoot the shit. This was great.
Absolutely.
What is this thing almost over?
You're almost over.
No, what do you mean almost over? He is over. What are you talking about?
No, I mean, what time does your podcast start? Because I ain't got a fucking thing to do.
The podcast started an hour ago, man.
Like I said, I took your show over. Well, let me do this then. Corey Higdon over at Deathmatch Worldwide started a webpage for deathmatch wrestlers. And you can find just about any deathmatch wrestler out there's t-shirt. There's plenty of fucking Madman Pondo t-shirts on there. Any deathmatch worker you can think of. Corey Higdon, deathmatchworldwide.com. Tell him I sent you. He's not going to give you anything cheaper, but it makes me look good. And a guy named John Cosper wrote a book called Bluegrass Wrestling or something like that. And I put a little piece in there, and all these people said, oh my God, you got Pondo to do a little piece in there? You need to write a book about Madman Pondo. So he had asked me several times, and I just didn't think anybody would care about what I had to say. So I kept turning it down. And finally I said yes. And now there's a book out there called Memoirs of a Madman. You can get it on Amazon.com, or if you want an autographed copy, you can get it at EatSleepWrestle.com. And if you bring that book to one of the wrestling shows where I'm doing a death match, I will take the ink off my forehead and give you the old bloody thumbprint on the first page. I was doing that first before them fuckers with them baseball cards. Trust me on that. They saw me do that and thought, oh, that'd be a good idea for baseball cards. But, yeah, again, t-shirts, deathmatchworldwide.com, or if you want a Madman Pondo book, eatsleepwrestle.com.
And I will put.
I have
both
that book,
those
and I
links-
can say like the stories are the best. So,
What's your favorite
Yeah.
story in that book?
I believe anything with Bridget the Midget.
What a time in my life that was. It was like fucking in between two little pork chops. We're still friends to this day, me and Bridget. We still talk on Facebook every once in a while.
That's awesome. Wasn't expecting a Bridget the Midget mention, but here we are.
Hey, man. Hey. I didn't know that it's going to be as impressive as what it was, but I get guys coming up to me all the time asking me how Bridget was. And I don't remember if this is what I wrote about in the book, but 3, 4, 5 strokes in, I stopped and I'm just staring at her. And she's like, what? And I'm like, sorry, you're a porn star and I didn't expect it to be this tight. And she goes, oh, no offense whatsoever. She said, I do this thing, and she kegled my cock inside so tight. I'm like, oh my God, why are you a porn star? You need to teach every chick in America how to do that.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Holy shit.
Hey, I think that's the perfect way.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's beyond legendary status.
Yes, 100%.
This is fucking God tier interview right here.
I will put all the
There you
links
go.
to Deathmatch Worldwide and to Memoirs of a Madman in the
Fuck yeah.
description of this episode. So please, if you enjoyed this interview, you want to support Mondo, please grab a T-shirt, grab the book. I'm going to order one when
His name
we're
is
done.
Pondo.
Pondo.
His name is Pondo, not Pondo.
Pondo with a
Double
P.
T.
Yeah.
Oh, Double T can't talk
I
for
said
shit.
Pondo.
Yeah.
So. No, you didn't.
It sounded like Mondo. Fuck me.
Don't worry,
I
Double T.
sound- I heard Mondo.
We'll get you back, brother. Don't worry about it.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I hope I gave you guys a laugh or two. And hey,
Fuck yeah, dude.
anytime you want to
Yeah.
do this, just get a hold of me, and I'm here for you.
Absolutely, man.
Awesome.
We
Thanks,
appreciate you.
Pondo.
It was a blast.
Thank you, brother. Be
See you
well.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.